July 11, 2026, Catherine, the Princess of Wales, walked into centre court at the All England Lawn Tennis and Croquet Club, wearing a scarlet red Roland Mouret dress that lit up the royal box the second she sat down, and the crowd gave her a standing ovation, so long she had to keep rising and waving before she could actually take her seat, which is honestly the kind of welcome most people only dream about getting anywhere in life. As royal patron of the club, a role she has held since 2016, she had already spent the day doing what she genuinely seems to love best: chatting with staff, meeting the ball boys and ball girls who keep the whole tournament running, and catching up with players before the big match. And it was during one of those casual conversations that she let something slip that turned out to be way more charming than anything happening on the grass that afternoon, revealing that her youngest son Prince Louis has been begging her to explain exactly how a kid becomes a Wimbledon ball boy, practicing his stance at home, and asking about the footwork and positioning like it is basically training camp, which is the kind of small, unscripted moment that makes an 8-year-old feel completely relatable, even though his mom happens to be a future queen. Louis did not make the trip to Wimbledon himself this year, sitting this one out the same way his older siblings once did before their own debuts. But the grand story Catherine shared painted a picture of a little boy who watches his family head off to the All England club every summer and just wants in on it, practicing the drills in his own living room the way any tennis-obsessed kid would. And that detail traveled further online than most of the actual match highlights, because it is the kind of thing that makes the royal family feel like an actual family instead of a headline. Meanwhile, the match itself turned into history in its own right, because the ladies' singles final that day was the first ever all-Czech final in the tournament circuit, pitting Karolina Muchova against her fellow countrywoman Linda Noskova, two players who came up through the same national program and now found themselves standing across the net from each other on the biggest stage in tennis. And the tennis was about as dramatic as it gets, with Noskova taking the first set 6-2 before Muchova fought back to steal the second 7-5. Setting up a decider that Noskova finally closed out 6-3 after 2 hours and 27 minutes of pure grit, walking away with her first career Grand Slam title at just 21 years old, and instantly becoming the newest name etched into Wimbledon history. Catherine, staying true to her role, presented the Venus rosewater dish to Noskova herself, and by every account took real time afterward to properly thank the ball boys and ball girls. Working the final, the same group of kids Louis apparently daydreams about joining one day, which brought the whole afternoon full circle in a way nobody could have scripted better. What makes this story stick with people isn't really the tennis scoreline, impressive as it was. It's the layering of two completely different kinds of triumph happening in the same few hours. A 21-year-old underdog claiming the biggest title of her career in a historic matchup against her own countrywoman, and a mother in the royal box, quietly revealing that her youngest son's biggest dream right now has nothing to do with crowns or castles, and everything to do with chasing tennis balls across a lawn, just like any other kid his age. And somehow, both of those stories landed on American timelines within hours of each other, proving once again that the most viral royal moments are almost never the formal ones. They're the tiny human ones that slip out between official duties, the ones that remind everyone watching that even future kings and queens are just parents dealing with a kid who really wants to be a ball boy.